Hello dreamers, and welcome to the first ever character Q&A on my channel. Yay! You guys did not disappoint, and you gave me so many questions to play around with. Like, honestly, I was completely blown away with the sheer amount of questions, which is one of the reasons this video took so long, but we are not gonna talk about that. Anywho, I just want to give a quick shout out and thanks to all the names scrolling by on the screen right now for asking the characters some questions. Quick aside here, I thought it would just be a really nice refresh for anybody new, just to put a quick little lore recap in here. Let's go! Okay, so the villains of this story, Pie Man and Sour Grapes, ended up enchanting all the berry fields of Strawberry Land so that the berries would rise up and walk straight to them. What they didn't know was that the spell book that they used was both unstable and evil. So instead of rising up and walking towards Pie Man and Sour Grapes, they rose up from the depths of the ground to infect other berries and plant life, kicking off the Zomberry apocalypse. Strawberry and her friends will have to band together and revive old relationships in order to beat this foe with the power of friendship. If you guys would like more insight into the lore, please check out these videos. Please welcome in the cast Strawberry Shortcake, her little sister Apple Dumpling, Orange Blossom, Huckleberry Pie, Plum Pudding, Blueberry Muffin, Lemon Meringue, and her sister Raspberry Torte. You guys had questions for all of them as a group and some single questions. So we are going to start off with Miss Strawberry Shortcake herself. Hello. Alright, Strawberry Shortcake, time for question number 1. Do you still talk to your friends like Rainbow Sherbet, Banana Candy, etc.? If not, then why? Well, I try really hard to stay in contact with all my friends by sending letters. That's how I've stayed in communication with Huck and Orange Blossom, at least. But sometimes, no matter how hard you try to keep certain relationships going, life circumstances just change things. Gosh, Strawberry, that's a sad answer. Moving on. Question number 2. I challenge you to make 3 Lucky Charm bracelets for Apple, Orange, and Huck and say I love you to them after. That's not really a question, but I'm not one to back down from a challenge. Only I'd like to make a friendship bracelet for all of my friends. And it's no secret that I love them all. Oh my gosh, you made me a bracelet too? Man, you're great. Love this girl. Alrighty, time for question number 3. How are Pupcake and Custard handling the Zomberries? Pupcake adjusted almost immediately now that I think about it. He really likes to help out in fights, and he kind of has a knack for it too. Custard, however, she took a little bit longer to adjust. She's fine about things now, but she still prefers the base over the battlefield. Wow, talkative animals today. If only I knew what they were saying. Anyways, on to the final question for you, Strawberry Shortcake. Oh, already? Well, there'll be more later, but as a group. Alright, once the Zomberry apocalypse is over, will you pick up your life where you left off, or start over fresh? That's a difficult one. The unfortunate truth of the matter is that it's impossible for me to continue on with my life like none of this ever happened. Some things will stay the same as they were, but most every aspect of my life is completely different now. I would have never chosen for things to change, but now that they have, I'm trying my hardest to see this as a good kind of change. For every struggle I've been through, there's always something that comes from it that I can be thankful for. Kind of like a rainbow after a very bad storm. Ah, very good answer, Strawberry, and very insightful. I will see you next when we get to the group questions. Moving on to Mr. Huckleberry. Let's go. Hi. Alright, Huck. Starting off with question number 1. Before the Zomberry problem, how many times did you go fishing?
I have no idea what the answer to that question would be, but to be fair, the Zomberry apocalypse has never stopped me from fishing. I know this great spot where you can find all kinds of fish. You just need to bring the right bait, and bam! You have yourself a fish.
Nice! Man, I wouldn't mind having one of those gummy fishies myself.
Ooh, this one's a good one. This one's a good one.
What do you think is everyone's best and worst qualities?
I don't know if I'm really all that qualified to answer this one.
It doesn't matter whether or not you're qualified, you just gotta answer the questions, okay?
I'm on a team full of girls. You think I'm gonna reveal what I think is their worst quality? You know what? I'll keep it down to this. The girls' worst quality is that they can't see that they're all amazing. Their best quality is that they're all amazing. Now, Plum being my best friend, I can in good conscience say that he is a know-it-all and nobody likes that about him, but he's also, my best friend, so I obviously put a lot of faith and trust in him. So there you go. Okay. Huck, is there a certain relationship that you're ever going to pursue in the near future? Strawberry. Excuse me. You guys think you're really sly with that one. Do I have to answer this?
For the sake of the Q&A, humor it.
Okay, so although this is totally private information, this is a Q&A and I did agree to be involved in it, so it's my own fault, really. I don't want to pursue Strawberry until I know she'd be okay with it. I would never want to put her in an uncomfortable situation, and that is all I'm willing to say on the matter.
Almost all you're willing to say on the matter. There's still one more question for you, Huck, and, it's definitely that territory.
Oh, come on.
If you weren't in the Zomberry apocalypse at the moment, and you could plan your definitely only platonic pal Strawberry a date, what would the date be like?
What happened to the fishing questions? Can we please go back to those? Or here, I could show you a skateboard trick. Something other than this. Why are we talking about this? Why do we keep coming back to this? Okay, how I answer will be the last time I humor this kind of question. I would probably take her somewhere with a lot of flowers and a clear view of the sky so we could watch the sunset together. Maybe also set up a bunch of blankets and pillows so we could have a picnic. Are you guys finally satisfied with that? Because I am severely uncomfortable right now.
Well, I know I, for one, am satisfied with that answer, Huckleberry. Thank you so much for humoring these questions.
Oh, that was the last one. Whew.
Well, the last one until we get to the group questions. But I don't think they're quite as personal.
Thank goodness. Well, I'll see you then.
Bye, Huck. Now it's time to ask Miss Orange Blossom some questions. Hey, girl. Okay, if you could travel to any country, which would it be? Ooh, a travel question. I like. I've yet to travel to Srawberry, the Finger Sandwich Islands, and Berryvania. So maybe one of those. Oh, I'd also love to hike through the up and down mountains. Or even climb up the Sunday Mountain. It's a hot fudge volcano, so I'll have to be very careful. But I'm told that tasting the fudge is worth any risk. Of course, my travel plans will have to wait until this Zomberry situation gets cleaned up, though. Ooh, yeah, sorry about that, but at least you know where you're going after you get things cleaned up, like you said. What was your favorite place on your travels? Any standouts? I don't know if I can choose a favorite. I've been to so many places. Paris, Mexico, China Cup, Seaberry Beach, Ice Cream Island, and I guess if I continued to list off everywhere I've been, we'd be here far too long. I guess the most recent place I've been to, before joining my friends here in Strawberry Land, of course, was Big Apple City. I actually lived there for quite a bit. My favorite thing about that city was its lovely park. It makes for the perfect place to set up my easel and paint away. Yes, a fellow art girly. Let's go. Okay, and last question for you. Kind of personal if you ask me. Why do you feel inferior to everyone else, considering that your photographic memory is very important to the group? Well, gosh. I guess the best way to explain it is that I'm so used to my own abilities that they don't seem particularly special to me. Sometimes, since I'm surrounded by such strong, talented, and intelligent friends, I lose sight of my own talents in admiration of theirs. But luckily for me, my friends see my worth and point it out to me and value me just for being me, and not just for any skills I have. It would seem that they admire me just as much as I admire them, and I'm so grateful to have such kind people as my friends. Aw, that is so sweet. Great answer. And I will see you later on. But now it is time for Apple Dumpling. Hey, Apple. All right, first question. Who teases you most in the friend group? Oh, that's easy. Plum is always teasing me. It's very annoying. And when I'm angry about his teasing, he'll call me Sour Apple. Can you believe that? Sour Apple! Maybe I'm sour sometimes, but everyone knows I'm a sweet apple. But if he makes me really mad, he usually makes up for it by teaching me big words. So it's easier to forgive him. Good to know that he keeps himself on your good side. Good for him, too. Alrighty, and here's the second and last question. How many times have you needed one of your teammates to pull you out of an impulsive plan that you thought would work out, but ended up a train wreck? Bold of you to assume that that's something that happens a lot. All I know is that my impulsive plans have worked out more times than they haven't. I know that they can worry Strawberry and make Plum angry, but my spontaneous decision making is part of my charm. Plus, when they work out, I get treated like an MVP. Well, thank you for sitting down and answering some questions with me, Apple. I will see you later. Hello, Miss Blueberry. We are on to your questions. Are you excited? Oh, I am so excited for this. It'll make for a great story to tell my friends. I'm sure it will. So let's start at the beginning here. What is it like to take care of the younger kids in the group, like Apple and Lemon? It's so much fun. I get to tell them stories and entertain them while their older sisters are out fighting. And we always have a blast together. Your guys' relationship is so wholesome. Okay. What are your thoughts on Plumington Puddin? My thoughts on Plum. He's a funny one. He's so passionate about what he does, and he's incredibly literal. But what amuses me the most is how awkward he gets when I talk to him. I think it's very cute. Very cute, eh? Nice. Oh, this one's interesting. We get Strawberry back in to help us answer this question. Ooh, yay. To Strawberry and Blueberry. How well do Custard and Pupcake get along with Cheesecake the Mouse? Oh, I think they get along very well. I think so too. Squeak, 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 squeak. Meow. Ruff, ruff. Again, what is up with the animals talking? Well, thank you for joining me, Blueberry. I will see you later on in the video. Bye, it was a pleasure. And speaking of a pleasure, we have with us today Mr. Plumington Puddin. A pleasure indeed. So, Plum, are you ready for the first question? As I'll ever be. What is the most peculiar thing you've ever seen? The logical answer would obviously be the zombie berries that defy all reason. But I've been trying to practice a little less sarcastic style of humor. So I'll just say that the most peculiar thing I've seen is the peculiar Pie Man of Porcupine Peak, rat-tat-tat-tat, or whatever he says. Okay, was that funny enough? That was very funny. Yes! Next one. Oh, okay. What are your thoughts on everyone in the group, and how seriously do you think that they're taking the apocalypse? If I were to disclose my opinions on my friends, we would be here for hours. So for time's sake, and time's sake only, I will have to grossly oversimplify. Huck is my best friend. Raspberry disagrees on almost everything with me. Orange's eye for detail is very impressive. Strawberry is too empathetic. Lemon is nice. Apple is annoying, but like in a good way. And Blueberry is the most amazing girl ever. Period. As for how seriously my friends are taking the apocalypse, I'll just say that I am undisputably the most serious person in the team. Yeah, I don't doubt that. Next question, please. Hey Plum, I'm just curious, why do you judge Huck for not asking Strawberry out when you haven't asked Blueberry out yet either? Okay, first of all, I gave Huck a hard time because it's obvious to everyone else on the entire planet that Strawberry likes him, except he can't get that through his thick skull. Secondly, I didn't ask Blueberry out because she asked me out first. Cut that out! Yeah, the last question. The question before didn't exist. What is your favorite book? Like I could pick only one favorite. My favorite genres are usually science, math, history, pretty much anything but fantasy. I've never cared for anything that can't be explained rationally. There was one time that I decided to read outside of my comfort zone and get a fantasy book from the library. Or at least that's what I thought it was at the time, but it turned out to be some kind of ancient spell book. I still read the entire thing, of course. Deciphering it gave me something to do at the very least, but just to clear up what the book actually was and save some other reader from confusion, I made sure to label the book before returning it. Oh, that was very thoughtful of you, Plum. I know. Did that sound rude when I said it? I mean a little bit. Dang it. I know. Was that any better? Slightly, I guess. Well, Sorry to see you go, Plum, but a Raspberry is up next. Hey, Raspberry. Hey. Okay, first question. Hey, Raspberry, do you think you could beat me in an arm wrestle competition? Can I beat you? Of course I can beat you. There are very few people in this world who have ever had the honor of winning against me. So bring it.
Ah, feisty. Nice. Let's see if you bring that same energy to this next question.
Raspberry, how many times have you just taken Lemon and ran in dangerous situations? If the situation seems too dangerous, or the vibes are just off, I remove Lemon and myself immediately, no matter what. It would be different if it was just me dealing with that kind of situation. I love a good challenge. But the safety of my sister is my #1 priority, always. So yeah, if I don't think it's a situation she can handle, I'm taking her out of it. That's what sisters do.
Okay, you didn't have to be so aggressive with that, but yeah, sisters are the greatest, aren't they?
Of course they're the greatest. I love Lemon.
Aw, that's so sweet. And I'm sure she loves you. Alrighty, are you ready for the final question?
Yeah.
Okay.
What is your favorite color?
That's easy.
Fuchsia, lime green, sunny yellow. Those are my favorites. And they're my favorites because, simply put, they are the best colors. This next question is for both you and Lemon. Hey, Lemon. Glad you could join us. To Raspberry and Lemon, do you guys worry about each other a lot, being sisters and all? Of course I worry about Lemon, especially since there is a literal Zomberry apocalypse going on right now. I am out of my mind with worry. I worry more so about Raspberry's relationships with others more than I do her safety. She's just so guarded all the time and disagreeable. She acts completely self-sufficient, but everyone needs friends to lean on. Well, of course everyone needs friends to lean on. That's why I have you. Alrighty, it is time for the group questions. Let's go. Okay, here we go. First one to the group. What was your feelings when you first saw the Zomberries? What did you do to get rid of them while you didn't know the real way to defeat them? I think it would be safe to say that we were all pretty shocked. Definitely. Maybe you guys were. But I had read about an event like this in a book and knew how to prepare for this. Nothing catches Plumington Puddin off guard. Moving on, to answer the question about how we figured out how to fight them, I think it's pretty obvious. When monster berries want to fight, you fight them back. Luckily, hitting them hard is enough to make them turn back into normal.
Yeah, that was really lucky for us.
Are you all planning to end the apocalypse? Like doing research to kill all Zomberries? I am constantly researching those vermin, day in and day out. Same here. Those things are going down. We are definitely planning on ending this apocalypse. Though we don't have many leads to go off of, we'll figure this out together.
Aw, sweet. Power friendship type thing. I like. Oh, this next question is an interesting one. Do you guys like Valentine's Day?
We love Valentine's Day. It's such a wonderful way to celebrate friends and loved ones. I've always loved how romantic everything gets around that time. It's fine, I guess. I like the reds and pinks. Valentine's Day is fine indeed. Where did you guys go when you originally left Strawberry Land? When I originally left, it was to travel the world and study art. Lemon and I didn't really go anywhere particular, per se, when we left. We just kind of moved from place to place, wandered around, you know how it is. Yeah, we moved a lot. Apple and I never left. Strawberry Land is a very big place. Plum, Blueberry, and I all technically still live here. It's just that we don't live very close to each other, if you get my meaning. Yeah, that makes sense. Would you guys say you enjoy fighting off the Zomberries, or is it just a thing you have to do?
It's just a thing we have to do.
I enjoy fighting. Hey Strawberry and friends, what are your favorite foods to eat, and are any of you picky? I like just about everything, but anything with strawberries on it definitely takes the cake for me.
Nothing beats a home-cooked meal for me. Chicken pot pie, freshly baked cookies, grilled fish, all delicious.
I like anything bittersweet. I second that. I think savory foods are the best, especially when they're served with a citrusy sauce. Bring on the flavor, please. Me and Plum are probably the pickiest eaters here. I can't really decipher why I don't like certain textures or flavors, but I do. Actually, Apple, what you meant to say was Plum and I are probably the pickiest eaters, not me and Plum. But yes, I concur with her sentiment. I like snacking foods, so I have something to chew on while I read or watch movies. Yeah, a good snack is hard to beat. Is there any hope for the end of the Zomberry apocalypse? What are your ultimate plans, my dudes? There is always hope. Always. These things take time, but we will put things right. As for our ultimate plans, life circumstances have been changing too rapidly to make any concrete plans at the moment. But I'm sure once this is all over, I will think of something. Very well put, Blueberry. What are your guys' favorite weapons against the Zomberries?
My rake, definitely, but I'll use just about anything as a weapon if things get too rough.
My trusty brass knuckles. There is nothing more accurate than my own fists. Oh, definitely my baseball bat. I like using my garden spade. I think it's ironically fitting. I love my slingshot. I don't really have a favorite weapon. Neither do I. I am far too busy trying to find a long-term solution to the Zomberries to spend time fighting. But when I do have to fight, I don't really have a go-to weapon. What are your guys' favorite activities and or hobbies? Crafting. Just give me some tape, yarn, cardboard, and some scissors and I am set. Oh, and a good fantasy novel to read. Sports and board games. I spend all my time learning and experimenting, and occasionally I will tap dance. It is the superior type of dance, I'll have you know. I like to bake, garden, and craft things. I like to listen to music and watch movies, especially romantic ones. But besides that, I guess I'm pretty much game for anything. I love to paint, chart, and draw.
I guess I farm, fish, build, and skate.
I like doing whatever my sister is doing. Oh, that's really sweet. This question's an interesting one. Who has the worst and best handwriting?
Well, Plum has very neat handwriting.
True, but Orange's is super pretty. Lots of swirls. Aw, thanks. So who has the worst handwriting then?
Mine's nothing special.
I'm right there with you, Huck.
Who is the therapist of the group?
Blueberry.
And Strawberry. Definitely not me.
What are your guys' routines like? I like to wake up early to get ready and make everyone breakfast. Then, after I talk with everyone, I see who would like to train with me. Strawberry is crazy to wake up so early. I need to sleep. I don't really have a set routine. I'll usually just see who needs an extra hand and give them some help. I study like a madman, and when I'm not studying, I'm experimenting, and when I'm not experimenting, I'm planning. I nap in increments throughout the entire day and night to maximize my productivity. I help Plum on his planning and research for the Zomberries, but I also add some flair and entertainment by acting out stories for everyone. And I make my own props! When I'm not charting maps for us, I like to spend my time practicing my art and fighting. I also try to keep our base nice and tidy.
I go out and farm food for everyone, and I fight the Zomberries and build new weapons and defenses.
Eat, sleep, train, fight, repeat. Who gets into the most arguments? Oh, that's easy. Raspberry.
And Plum.
They'll argue with anyone. Hey, that is not true. Well, I guess you guys have a point there. Who has the biggest berry kill count? Or at least the biggest hit a Zomberry, turn it back into a berry count? Oh, that would be Raspberry. Although Huck is a close second. Who is most likely to crack a joke during a serious moment? That's an easy one. Apple Dumpling, Strawberry, and Blueberry. Hey, do none of you understand that laughter is the best medicine? You tell him, Apple. Huh. I would have answered Huck. What's something you can't go anywhere without? My glasses. A pen and paper. You never know when inspiration will strike. As of this moment, my brass knuckles.
I guess my multi-tooled knife and my tape measure?
Definitely a book. And small scissors are very handy to have too. A smile. My backpack. I keep everything I could ever need in there. First aid, snacks, maps, tools, you name it. Clothes!
Yeah, you definitely need those everywhere you go.
And last but not least, what are all of your favorite songs? Since the cast doesn't have access to our world's music, I thought it would be fun to answer this question by listing songs that remind me of the Strawberry Gang. So there you are! And with that, folks, our Q&A session is just about wrapped up. Thank you so much for watching, and hey wait, there's still a couple more questions here. Really? I can't believe I missed those. Yeah, and it looks like they're for you. For me? Like, seriously? Yeah, what are you guys still doing here? Come on, go. You're done. Everyone give them a round of applause, but they're done. They're gone. Man, some people, I tell you, they just want all the attention. Couldn't be me. Alrighty, let's see what these questions are, shall we? For Brooke, who is your favorite character in the AU? Oh, come on, that is such a hard question. That is such a hard question. I don't know. Like, I want to choose all of them. I can't choose, but, like, since I have to choose, I'm just gonna go basic with it and say Strawberry Shortcake. I'm just gonna go basic, guys, I'm sorry. I love all these characters way too much. Alrighty, next question. Who were the easiest and hardest characters in the cast to design? Ooh, that is a really good question. Okay, so Strawberry Shortcake's design just like literally came to me in like almost a vision, you know? It just popped up in my head and I had to grab my iPad and Apple Pencil immediately. So I would say that hers was the easiest. Apple Dumpling and Orange Blossom took the most redraws, if I'm remembering correctly. I drew their outfits so many times before I finally like came up with ones that I liked. What's your favorite Back to the Future movie? You can ask any and all characters this question. Okay, so why this question is in with mine is because I myself have only ever watched the first movie, so like I really couldn't say any other movie than that was my favorite in the trilogy. I really love the first film. I think it's fantastic, like absolutely brilliant. Did Pie-Man benefit from the apocalypse? Not really, no, because how I have it written right now, at least, is that he doesn't even know that his scheme worked. He just kind of like woke up the next day and was like, oh, the berries are gonna be right outside, this is gonna be great. And then he opened his door and there was no berries anywhere. There's like, you know, a tumbleweed tumbling by and like one of his crows just cawing in the background. Like there's nothing there. So he just thinks that he completely freaking failed. And so does Sour Grapes. And they move on to some other shenanigans that I have planned for them. But yeah, they won't find out about the Zomberries until like way later on in the story. They just have zero clue that they exist. What areas of Strawberryland have been overtaken? Great question. I would say the entirety of Strawberryland is taken over by the Zomberries and is the most affected, but the farther out you get from Strawberryland, the less affected by the Zomberry virus you get. Where are the characters' hideouts? The main cast is, at the moment, hiding out in Huckleberry Pie's treehouse, but there are a couple more characters I've been itching to introduce into this AU, and their bases are elsewhere, like on a boat or a radio tower, so, do with that information what you will. Will this idea eventually become a fan fiction, or if possible, a fan animated short film? Honestly, that would be really cool, and I would love that. It's just, there's a couple of obstacles in my way. Like, I don't know what the heck the copyright situation would be like for a project like that. I know I could probably get away with writing a fan fiction, but I'm working on a different fan fiction right now, so I just wouldn't have a time to make it into a fan fiction. I do have plans to come out with, like, some little comics based off this AU, but, like, not like a full-blown comic. I would also like to animate some scenes, maybe, but, not a full animation. I do not have the time or the skills for that at this moment in my life. Thank you so much for asking that, though. It really does mean a lot that you'd want to see my idea fully fleshed out and realized in that way. Thank you. How will Apple find out that Huck has a crush on her sister Strawberry, and how will she react? So, I don't think that Huck's crush on Strawberry is, like, a secret to anyone but Strawberry Shortcake. Apple Dumpling has known for a long time that this has been going on, and she ships it, and she's been trying to set them up, but both Strawberry and Huckleberry are so thick-headed. Every setup that Apple Dumpling tries to put them through, they, like, completely misinterpret as more of, like, a platonic pal buddy type day, where they both babysat Apple Dumpling instead of, like, going out on an actual date. So, Apple Dumpling is out on the front lines of this relationship, okay? She's the one working to make it happen. Is there an antidote against the Zomberries to turn them back to normal? Yes? I don't know how much I should say, like, if this is spoilers for, like, the end game of my story, but it's a comedy. It's supposed to be pretty predictable anyways, so I'll just let it out. So, usually, how the team defeats the Zomberries is just by hitting the berries hard enough, the magic spell, just kind of, like, evaporates, and the berry itself is left intact, but the widespread antidote that will save the day at the end of the series is, in fact, the power of friendship. When your story is about friendship, I mean, come on, you gotta go with the classic trope of the heavy-handed, like, friendship is the key to everything. The true antidote is befriending Pieman and Sour Grapes, and forgiving them for all they've done. Oh my gosh, it's so corny, I love it. Yes. Did Apple grow up too fast because of the apocalypse, or does she keep the little kid persona to pretend everything is still normal? I would say that Apple Dumpling did not grow up too fast. In fact, sometimes she's a little bit more immature than the rest of the group would have hoped she'd be. She's doing what 12-year-olds do. I don't know. I distinctly remember what it was like being 12. And, like, that was probably the most fearless I've ever been in my life. So, like, the Zomberries do not affect Apple Dumpling's outlook on life. Like, if anything, she's, like, welcoming of the challenge. Because she's just crazy like that. And looks like that was finally the end of all these questions. Thank you again to all of you who put in your questions for me to answer. This was so much fun. I had a blast writing these answers and voicing the characters. And it means so much to me that my takes on these characters and my AU storyline just means so much to you guys. Like, that is literally the coolest thing ever. Thank you guys so much. I hope you enjoyed the video and have a great rest of your day or night. Bye!